next guest is a very talented actor and comedian you know from shows such as The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel and Search Party. His podcast, Dead Eyes, is available wherever you listen to podcasts. Please welcome to the show, Connor Ratliff, everybody. You?
I'm great. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. We have been in the same room often. You've actually been in sketches on this show that we filmed outside of the studio, but this is the first time we're meeting, and I'm very excited about that.
I'm very excited, too. It's very nice to meet you.
But I have also, you have a talk show of your own.
I do. I do a show called The George Lucas Talk Show.
Yep.
I pretend to be retired filmmaker George Lucas and interview real people as themselves. Yeah.
And this has been something that's been shared with me a lot. You have a pillow, a Late Night with Seth Meyers pillow on the set.
Yeah.
Of the There You Are as George Lucas.
Yeah.
Why do you have my pillow?
You were doing South by Southwest, and I was also there, and I was starting off the show around the same time, and I had the set was decorated with talk show paraphernalia from other talk shows to establish that George Lucas was among the pantheon of talk show hosts. And so we stole one of your pillows.
Yeah.
You had this display that had all these pillows at South by Southwest, and you had so many that we thought they won't miss one. And I actually thought, probably these other pillows will end up in a landfill, and we will actually protect this South by Southwest pillow.
I think that's probably the most likely outcome. In the end, I don't know where any of those pillows are, but it's a huge part of your show.
Yeah, and the deal has always been, anytime we've had writers from your show as guests on the George Lucas Talk Show, we always say, tell Seth if he wants his pillow. Or George says it. George says, tell Seth if he wants his pillow, he has to come on the show.
Yeah.
And and the offer stands.
I'm very excited to get the pillow back. And I will be doing that. This is I think, very common in podcasts now. It tries to solve a mystery.
Yeah.
But unlike other podcast mysteries, this is a very small, tiny mystery.
Yeah.
And this is Dead Eyes. And this is a story that I had heard before I knew much about you. And tell people what the mystery is.
Okay, so in the year 2000, I was a young actor fresh out of drama school. I was cast in a very small speaking role in the HBO miniseries Band of Brothers.
A fantastic show.
Great show, great show.
Fantastic.
I was so excited to be a part of it. And then I found great news. Tom Hanks is directing your episode. And then the day before I was supposed to film my episode, I got a call, frantic, from my agent's office saying, you have to get there right away. Tom Hanks has looked at your audition tape, and he's having second thoughts. He thinks you have dead eyes. And so I had to go and re-audition in person for Tom Hanks. And minutes later, I was told they were deciding to go another way.
So this is, very
sad story.
Very sad story.
Yeah.
Not only, I think, any actor would dread being told they have dead eyes, but to get it from the person who is considered the nicest man in show business.
Yes, like if I had been cast in a very small role in Eyes Wide Shut and then Stanley Kubrick had said it, I would have thought, of course.
Yeah.
But this was the nicest man in show business, so I thought, oh, I'm so broken as a person. My eyes are so awful that the nicest man in show business couldn't even bear to have me be the tiniest part of Band of Brothers. With all the horrible things that happened in World War II, we can't show this to the audience.
Now, had you ever even thought about your eyes as being a detriment?
No, I have plenty of bad things I thought about myself, but the eyes I thought were like just fine, normal human eyes.
Great.
Yeah. And since I've heard nothing. It was the only time I got that note.
And so you decided to do this podcast to drill down, because this was a very, I mean, all jokes aside, this was a very real thing that affected you and affected your relationship with acting.
Yeah, I mean, if it hadn't been this, it probably would have been 10 other things that would have added up to me deciding, I don't want to be an actor. Feels terrible. But I got it in one concentrated dose of like, chunk, you are broken and cannot do this. But I decided, he didn't say it to me. It was a message I got through, and
by the way, I would say a better agent would not have passed it along to you.
It was a complete breakdown along every part of the chain of communication. I never should have been told, here's what's going on. They should have just said, you have to go in and read the scene again. He wants to meet you. I would have been thrilled,
Right. You have a guest coming up on the show that I would love for you to announce now.
Yes. So on March 10th, for our 31st episode, our season 3 finale, will feature my conversation with Tom Hanks.
Now, this is thrilling.
Yeah,
this is thrilling.
It's beyond thrilling. It's It is, I didn't expect it to happen. The podcast was designed. The podcast is about disappointment. So I would be foolish. It was baked into the DNA of the podcast that maybe we'll never get to him.
Right.
But we did. And it's great. We have a fully, we hash out everything. And it's everything that I wanted from the conversation. I would not have gotten this conversation if I had played the role.
Right.
There would never be a world in which I played this small role and then 22 years later, I got to talk to Tom Hanks for over an hour.
Right.
So it's...
Yeah, the guy who got that part right now is like, what the
He's
Here I am over there, I got this light in my eyes.
He's doing great. He actually does, he has a great career. He does a lot of audiobooks. He's doing fine.
All right, I like that you've kept up with him as well.
I have. He's I talked to him on the podcast. He's a very nice guy. He had no idea it had happened. I actually found out when I talked to him that the same day that I was re-auditioning, there was a second car filled with alternate actors who were ready to take my place if and when I got fired.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
And now, obviously, now you're doing the podcast, so it comes up all the time that you think about this moment.
Yeah.
World events right now might also make you think about the part.
Yeah, the character's name was Private Zelensky. And if you follow the news, you might have heard that name almost every minute of every day now. One of the most famous names in the world right now.
Right now. The other thing that is amazing to me, even more amazing than the fact that you got Tom Hanks to do your podcast, our research did some digging, and you, as a young man, and you went to a sort of a C-SPAN, what was it?
I was on like a high school, it was the senior year of high school, went on a trip, and I guess that's how C-SPAN gets a lot of their studio audiences. It's just like gangs of students that they just go in here and watch a C-SPAN taping. And it was a debate about Russia and Ukraine.
So here you are,
Yep,
there you are on
me.
C-SPAN in 1992, I guess, maybe?
Yeah, end of 92, I think. And I was determined to get on camera. So I asked a question about the differences culturally between Russia and Ukraine. And the Russian person, she said, oh, there's really no differences. We're all the same. We're all one thing. And the Ukrainian representative was like, no, we are different. And I mean, you can see it's just like such a call forward to like, well, this is not going to end well. Yeah.
This was also, it should be noted, you're doing this podcast now, but was this a story that you told people before you did the podcast?
Yeah, I mean, for a while, it was an embarrassing story that I had to tell people because I told everybody that I was going to be on Band of Brothers. So it was kind of like, I would tell it reluctantly, like, why aren't you on Band of Brothers? Well, here's why. Then when I started doing like comedy at UCB and I started doing improv and stuff, people would be like, so what's your story? And I was like, well, I used to be an actor and now I'm doing this. And they're like, why? And it was, I would tell people within the first 10 minutes of meeting them. Like I'm finding out as I do the podcast, I would ask friends like, when did I tell you this story? And they'd be like, 5 minutes after we met. Because it just explained like, well, here's why I'm doing improv in a basement for free, because this is fun and I don't like show business.
And also, I will say, if it wasn't real, it would be the greatest beginning of an improv scene of all time.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Tom Hanks thinks you have dead eyes is a great initiation. The scene writes itself.
The scene writes itself.
Yeah.
And I know the podcast hasn't written itself, and it's been a lot of hard work, but man, oh man, has it been a fantastic journey to listen to you talk about it, and I cannot wait to hear the Tom Hanks episode.
It's going to be great. Thank you so much.
All right, you guys, that's Connor Ratliff. Subscribe to Dead Eyes wherever you listen to podcasts.